Hey vinyl community, this is Chris. I thought I'd get my 2018 vinyl tag of 20 questions made before it got too late. So I'll try to just knock this out and not take too long doing it, but we'll see. So 20 questions. I did a 2017, I guess, vinyl tag. I may have deleted that or made it private, but this one I'll leave up for a little bit, and then I'll probably do the same thing. So the first video that I ever saw in the VC, well, before I moved, I was living in Orlando, Florida, and I think I started watching, don't know how I found it, but Derek Vaughan or Derek Higgins videos. So this was like 2013 maybe that I started watching those, and that was the first VC video that I ever saw. And then took a couple of years after that to find out that there were other people making similar videos. So I was on a diet of Derek Higgins for a while. Favorite record that I discovered via a VC video. I'm going to say that is Planxty. Ben Costello did a series of videos on UK folk, and one of them was sort of devoted to Planxty and the artists as they spun off and did other solo projects. So I finally found a Discogs buyer that had them at a reasonable price, so I have ordered two. So I'll insert try to insert a picture of the covers, but that's probably the only favorite record that I could think of that I purchased via VC videos. Other hobbies, I like to play basketball when I get a chance, and I'm a science fiction reader and collector also, so maybe I'll put in a snapshot of a bookcase. That ought to be pretty exciting. Why did I start collecting? That's another question. I don't know why I started, just that once I started getting things, I tended to keep acquiring more of the same artist, especially if I liked them. That's been sort of a trend with books too, or somebody had mentioned comic books. So I've got, I had used to collect comic books, or I would buy them. Now I can do them. There's a lot of people that are scanning classic comics or things that I couldn't afford or can't afford. So but I can get scans of the comics. So easy way to acquire an extensive Golden Age or Silver Age or Bronze Age collection of comics from the various producers: Marvel, DC, EC. So next question: do I play an instrument, or was I in a band? No, I never worked in a record store. Favorite album from the year I was born, that would be 1952. That's earlier than records that I typically collect, but I found out that I did have some records from that year, so this one I will say is my favorite. This is Wilhelm Bachhaus, playing two Beethoven sonatas. So solo piano, classical, Beethoven Sonata 23 and 28. This is on London full frequency label. So 1952 Wilhelm Bachhaus playing Beethoven. What classic record have I never heard? Well, I figured that watching lots of these other VC videos, Iron Maiden is somebody that there's probably lots of albums I haven't heard. I do have an album, Iron Maiden, but this is the only Iron Maiden, and so all the other ones I would consider I haven't heard, and they seem to be classics. So next question, show a guilty pleasure record. So I saw just prior to this I watched Jeff Party, and he claimed that there is no such thing. So that is true, but for the sake of answering these questions, I'll say the foundations. So here's first one I have, might be their first one, 1967, Baby Now That I Found You, on the Uni label. My favorite of the Foundation albums, Build Me Up Buttercup. That came out during, I think this is 1968. So this was during my high school years. Build Me Up Buttercup. Also on Uni. And then the final one, Digging. (1968). Strangest Record. I figured this would be pretty strange. From the #1 bestseller, The Way to Become the Sensuous Woman by Jay. This is on Atlantic, 1971 it looks like. And of course this is accompanied by, or a companion piece to this, The Sensuous Man by M. And this was also 1971, published by Dell. So Sensuous Man and The Sensuous Woman. Show a picture disc. So I picked this one, Love Live. And there, this is put out by Rhino. There's the back side. So 1982 was when this was issued. So not too many picture discs to pick from, so that was the one you got stuck with. Best posthumous release. Well, I saw a Graham Parsons, which was a good choice, so I'll pick this one for my posthumous release. Nick Drake, Time of No Reply. This was 1986, 87. This one says 1986. reissue of a 1979 album, maybe. But all the tracks are from 1974 and earlier. Nick Drake, Time of No Reply. This is on Hannibal Records. Blind Spot Artist. Wait a minute, no, I skipped one. Which artist do I compulsively collect? So, I don't know. That could be all artists, but I picked two and a representative album, so Doug Somm or the Sir Douglas Quintet would be the first one. So here's 1971 Quintet album. So this is Sir Douglas Quintet minus Sir Douglas, just the backing band. On United Artists, 1971. Another one that maybe I compulsively collect is Kevin Ayers. So this is Diamond Jack and the Queen of Pain. This is on Charlie Records. And 1983 was when this was issued. Has a Dylan cover on here, Lay Lady Lay. Alright, let's see, I think I'm still out of order. Best Blind Bly, oh okay. Blind Buy, so I'm going to say that this Dillard's album is one of my best blind buys. You know, straight out of the cutout bin. Roots and Branches. I think I had to buy it twice. The first one I got, I think, was Warped. But United Artist. Well, actually, this one's Anthem. (1972). Redbone Hound is the song that sticks in my mind from this album. So, Dillard's, Roots and Branches, Blind Buy. Okay, Blind Spot Artist. Similar to the classic record that I've never heard by Iron Maiden, Blind Spot, Judas Priest. I've got this album because one day when I was out playing basketball, this little kid came out with his boombox, and this was the tape that he brought with him, so it was pretty much on repeat. Judas Priest. So I have this memory of playing basketball in the rain with this little kid listening to Judas Priest for several hours. So, but other than that, you know, haven't really followed up on that, so I'm calling that my blind spot. Favorite album cover? Yes, Close to the Edge. Looks pretty exciting, you know, with that little bit of text and a green cover, the shaded cover, but it's more of the idea this conveys, since you know, all of those Roger Dean covers were so classic. So seeing the cover, you know, I know what's in tale for, in store for me and what this entails. And in fact, so I've shown before a Roger Dean art book, but here's Roger Dean cards, art cards, which also show some classic covers. Budgie, Osibisa, Uriah Heep. So anyway, that takes care of that. Musician I've met. The only musician I can think of that I met was people related to the band Rachel and Kooshwah, which was a local Alabama band. So here's Kooshwah. I could have used this, or for Tales from the Crate maybe, but there's Chris Kooshwah there. He was in my 7th grade class. Howard Messer there. I think he's the bass player. He rode the bus to high school that I took. Maybe they're the only two that I actually met out of this batch. So Kooshwah. Prior to that, they're in this band Rachel. So there's Chris, my classmate, Howard, my busmate, a couple other albums. All right, show a record with sentimental value. So this one pops up again. Frankie Lane, Hell Bent for Leather. So this is one that my parents had, or my dad had, and we kept playing it so much that either I took the album, I'm not sure. I know I've also bought another copy of it since then on Columbia 6i. So just full of hit songs. I think maybe the best one in here is the 310 to Yuma is a real good song, and Wanted Man. I think those are the two that stick out, but the whole album is very good. And favorite album no one else seems to know about. I picked this one, Terry Brooks and Strange, No Exit. This is on Rock City Records. So sort of psychedelic guitar freakouts mixed in with some less freak out type stuff and more dance oriented maybe, but seems to be kind of schizophrenic at times. But started out with just real heavy guitar stuff on his earlier albums. This was figure out what year it was. Doesn't seem to say, so, and I forgot to look it up. Terry Brooks and Strange, No Exit. And favorite album out of a genre that I do not know well, I'll say that's soundtracks. I don't really collect soundtracks, even though I've got a few, especially if an artist does an entire soundtrack, like Neil Young, Dead Man, whatever, or Jimmy Page, Death Wish, I think. But so here's my favorite album from this genre, Flower Drum Song from like 1960 or something, long time ago. But for some reason, this one has appealed to me. You know, starts out with "You Are Beautiful," which seems like I know half the words to that. "I Enjoy Being a Girl" is the third one. "Chop Suey" is the final track on side one. "Don't Marry Me." Yeah, so a lot of songs have stuck in my memory. So Flower Drum Song, I think I've shown this before. It's also colored vinyl on Crown Records. So there, 2018 vinyl tag, 20 questions. Didn't do it in 20 minutes, but came close, 21. So thanks everybody, and I'll see you later.